We just passed midsummer, or the first day of summer, depending on where you live. Across the United States, the summer solstice is known as the first day of summer. Over in Europe, they call it midsummer. Obviously, it's the highest point in the sky of the sun. In terms of weather, it's probably neither one. But one thing that often happens this time of year is it gets really hot in the southwestern United States. Earlier this week, Death Valley broke their June record at 126 degrees. That's hot. What does that mean for our weather? Well, the hot weather in the southwest creates an area of low pressure in the southwest, and that affects moisture. And this year, that moisture of supply may really affect the weather in more ways than usual. There's our area of low pressure developing. It draws moisture in from the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico. Some of that gets up into the Midwest and northern plains at times from either direction. Of course, frontal action from weather systems will knock it back sometimes, but this year, because the heat is so extreme in the southwest, the draw of moisture may be stronger than usual. So point is, when we get hot and humid, we might be really hot and humid this summer. That's the way it's looking to me right now, and this may last through July and August. The actual forecast for June, the hot weather will be centered in the southwest. Most of the nation, though, will be above average, I think. One area from Wichita down to Houston will be about average, but it's hot from Wichita to Houston in July, so the whole country is going to be warm. There's going to be a lot of evaporation. Stretching it out to the rest of the growing season, it's looking generally above average across the country. I think the real heat will be focused in the mountains and in pockets along the eastern seaboard, but it's going to be a lot of hot weather. Not continuously hot. I'm not saying this will be the hottest summer of record, but there will be plenty of warm spells and heat waves to deal with. Rainfall in June, dry weather for the most part out west, quite wet, I think, along the Gulf Coast. The rest of us, near average to below average. There probably will be a few pockets of above average moisture from big-time thunderstorms from all that humidity, but overall we'll probably be coming out of July a little bit drier than we are now. For the rest of the summer overall, I say no clear forecast. Dry in the west, moist in the Gulf. By no clear forecast, I mean there will be pockets too wet, pockets too dry. So keep that in mind. This week, one little past piece of stormy weather through the Midwest, most of the West fairly dry. This will be somewhere through the northern part of the Corn Belt. The rest of us will have areas of rain and areas that are a little bit dry. In other words, typical midsummer fare. The first full week of July, we're stretching it, still looking at dry weather in the West, still looking for areas of too much or too little across the rest of the country, which is significant considering that the weather will be above average temperature-wise. So here's what we're saying. With monsoon season coming and warmer than average temps expected the rest of the summer, evaporation over rainfall.